You have a fight here, you never be shabby. Okay. Our president is over here by you. And sent to Quacoso White House. Oh, they really are not. Not to be a staff now, who be a come on. Yenin Commodore Ransom Cacre.
Can me that say na Mamincha ye tea for near chef for an anno pay, or more share your TV so Facebook and radio in an Mamincho be anno pay. Mesha said ye free FIFA club walker, baby a druno, tough games or transfers or issues or me di beba, where could be baba na biggie susu di biaba. Ken ahumachin ye sripe ye share Chelsea. Any Palmeiras game na Chelsea winning 2-1. Our ma qualify at the FIFA Club World Cup semi-final. If you were one teamer, many a jomo FIFA Club World Cup na Chelsea eka huye. Tournament na Chelsea koyen. 1. Unya results. Every football club biya ko tournament biya na o expect so obeko wanim. And so bit mako wanim a results na obenya no ana de obeko wanim. Enti se ne Ocha Chelsea fans na nima omo nyina nima ye serious because ni team no progress with FIFA Club World Cup. So tournament e so no Chelsea win ni okonadim. De to so mienu. Every single game bi a Chelsea abobia no. Omo ye tactical experiment. Tactical experiment e say star na omo pese omo bon every single game. Coach ne sesa ne nsa no. Or try nyoma foforo set a bit matter for the new season. And so tactical experiment at Chelsea ye FIFA Club World Cup no call many. And Ken, dear Tosumi and Sa, almost say Niska, the free tournament to him. What him say so far? FIFA Club World Cup na Chelsea wo hono. Or ma generated £61 million. And to you say a agro. Tournament na Chelsea bono. Semi-final na Chelsea edruno. Wa generated £61 million. And yes kaketwa. So kaso we invest e di akwa akoto a top player obetimi pokra di akwa akoye. So Chelsea wo FIFA Club World Cup no onya results, tactical experiments and also nya iska which are very good for Chelsea Football Club. Obi beka say Chelsea eyi Palmeiras a free tournament we ma and shada enye big news. Meti ase say o compare obia resources, o compare obia individual qualities Chelsea e was say Palmeiras oyini free tournament we ma enya dia enwoma bebre. But let's not forget this same Palmeiras and top in the group or the this stage. This same team now about tournament ni nyina wetimi consider just 2 goals for the group stage edeba. Enti enfa won say Chelsea yebo boku a owosoro say Palmeiras boku no. Se wo check Palmeiras so modern boss so far na omon fa badly at all. So Chelsea yi o mafrim no. Ade a Chelsea ayade. Ken for match day 1 every single Chelsea game you mabo bia no be catch us some ye tactical experiments. Ahumachi ebia say sibie se me kwotena TV ho anase me hwe live match eya na me pese me sua ade foforo eka de minim no dada enti se me kwahwe Chelsea game na me hu different approach different system ne tactics e ma me say sua ade feda onim say against Palmeiras Enzo Maresca decided so be use a new and a different approach this time around or use a 3-1-6 diamond base shape 3-1-6 diamond base shape ahomachi Chelsea use ye no se omu krabo na Saloba Levi Kowo ana Kukureya ana Ginechiro. I will say this time around the last game omu boy before Palmeiras game no or the Kopama shifted to the left wing by ahomachi or the Kopama eba more central ebe bo the favorite position enti ade a me hu ni ye say o ma Kopama ana branch defense Enzo Fernandez time bia no omunya da connecting passes no e yo mumienu ana omu connecting passes no and the man me Chelsea play no kra na say o yusu ne striker Dilap as a bounce board time bia no betimenya sa entry passes no enti Dilap no o yusu na as a bounce board bounce board
yes HSA
bounce board ni say fa ne say odi ade esi ho na odi bibi bounce so odi ball so na asa ba which asa enti Dilap no re striker no Chelsea benya entry passes biana eye wo se Dilap mum ana time bi omu use no as the entry enti ono ana beye offensive pivot a obe ore other opponent ni defenders no na Kopama ana Enzo Fernandez a connect passes no enti use Dilap as a bounce board for the final
based on this baby Kopama gina no na just in the position pioneer ana omu
attack biana ekoye 3 back the last match omu boy no oma Kopama ana Kukureya e operate on the left side by this time around or the Kopama eba mfimfin ana ọma akukura ya ọmụ ataki a ọkọka Levi Kong ana Chaloba ho enti ọmụ ataki bia na ekoye the 316 eye base shape ana Chelsea eyusu ye another new tactical experiment from air papa friend Enzo Maresca and Ken baby a Chelsea ne nam no Chelsea co final enye me nwanwa e was a tournament to be honest with you ọmụ get results ọmụ pay a tactical experiment na ekuyi and ọmụ get cash from it individually obi to say enra ahomachi Andre Santos say ne performance manage no ho o win a lot of 50-50 battles no on say Caicedo ntimi operate as a deep line and as a offense a defensive midfielder o yusu Andre Santos and obi operate was a role o win a lot of battles no and the minister J Andre Santos on kran here say ne third man combination na ekoyi Levi Kong we chire ho no enra and as ahomachi ne ball winning ability anyhow we read the game no na e was so e de mame second half no the na game no e disorganized kakra but you know Chelsea e ade Ken William-Estevao ye wo fidadem bebeka ne ho asem na nkofo nim se e hype e mede ene Chelsea fo na nkasa ahwe no me nka ne ho asem bebre new season or join Chelsea bobuku no so you know me hu ne se bebi a Chelsea ne nam no on beko final e wo this competition FIFA Club World Cup yes our PSG and Bayern ene another 12 game. These are two clubs are uko Europa. Omo performance ne ewo suru bebre. By currently, say oh ye fair, the best club ewo Europe. Enye world best club ewo Europe. Eye PSG bobuku no. Enti se team bi e kwa kwahia PSG bobuku na onim se PSG team no ewo suru. Badia ba kwa me hunu ye say wa check FIFA Club World Cup we a Bayern for so e performance ewo suru. Enti in as much as PSG eye top club omu nim ball ne ball omu control game no omu ball na efe omu ti omu ho ase understanding wo soro no omu kwa kwahia Bayern team a omu attack a ehu sa game we no Ken if both team to score you most likely omu nyina timi attack very well PSG be go Bayern be go by the obe winning no and ye too tight over 1.5 2.5 both team to score Miami team Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund ebesi akan enra anopa no obeye story bi ma manage se Florentino Perez say Real Madrid 4 players no entreaty FIFA World Cup no to say UEFA Champions League Dortmund any team abeka say F4 though say anytime be a Real Madrid be share Dortmund bia no Real Madrid will upper hand by say team e progress here be do this level untimi underrate omo and so meko win e dey ama Real Madrid bobuku no now ye ransom nim na me nim say nkofo e twen Nico Williams in sensem no Ken every single story about Nico Williams we read the internet ya beka wo fi ha say no enye ntro every single story about him joining Barcelona eye no kre true do ade ba ko a menim eye say respect eye very important e wo wiase Ken me no na ye adwuma maybe say ade china me mpese me ba adwuma a wo se me bo amane na me catch say boss we dey wadaroma nyam wo akina me koye ade wo baby me mba because una oye me panyin a wo da mano a me dey respect e ma wo me ntimi mfa me pe enka se me mba so respect is very important and nipa wo pese ukọ w'anim pa obi a oben bia se oya akra oya panyin e wo sa wo dey respect any nidie e de masa nipa no enti se wo ye footballer na show respect a hardwin it me affect you your footballers be bria o men room pempen so also mu do because of common respect me respect Nico Williams a decision me betine fidie we echi me betina ba bia ankoka say ade na Nico Williams ye no anya ade e ne personal decision on anim de obeye e beboa no on anim de e koso awo na busuem ano no ankasa enti so say onko Barcelona mintimi mbeka say enye right my respecting the decision na emum Nico Williams am for respect am Barcelona to be honest onim say ade na e course no nyina no enye Barcelona mpokra o even Bilbao for mpanyimfo say omiyem hiomo at the time Nico Williams and Felix Tenta ebe ka chom so be renew contract no na Bilbao for kran susu da say Nico Williams ba be renew contract omo say etiki omo by surprise according to Bilbao for nankasa almost say na almost the pressure ma Nico Williams na ebusuafo say omo be renew adia na Bilbao for na penny nyina na say obe renew and no may increase ni release clause omo peska kese from Nico Williams et say the other day na kwaku chechim say Kepamo any other guys nyina ekono mo muska kese by yet Bilbao oboku ni nyina no mo nim say player obetima mo muska kese pa no Nico Williams and it's 58 million euros and a release clause no mo nim say so and no mo kra de omo expect say obe renew a no may increase ade e kan say release clause no maton enti omo ti say Nico Williams and a fellow center from some be renew no e shock omo including the 10 years omo nsusu da say Nico Williams aba be accept sa deal no Barcelona target for wingers left wing no na Nico Williams enka home from the onset Barcelona tini baby na Barcelona target Luis Diaz Rafael Leao ana Barcelona ti omo baby omo mbo Nico Williams din ana wo Nico Williams oni abrante friend say Lamine Yamal kasa say afi we die wo di bibi etu achi o pese o join Barcelona at the time omo chase from Euros ni sa ana Lamine Yamal ka kire o say se obetima join Barcelona boboko na de di kan si ye no affect Barcelona mpanyimfo ahye omo so the first person I was so friend no head coach Hansi Flick ana Nico Williams offer Hansi Flick ana opa na chow ana say this time around person all join ana papa friend say Hansi Flick accept ye ana offer Deku ka kire ne say Nico afrene na kasa enti opese oba join Barcelona bobuku no na Deku na enye ni favorite ana na ye Nico Williams so die enti na Barcelona board ne ba say ebi mu 5% omo so omo nti ase na Deku na nkasa na komem na de opese ode ne ba no Luis Diaz from Liverpool Benam Nico Williams call na ye no a opa acho no ana ma Deku adwen sesai
Nico de fa Lamine Yamal so na Lamine Yamal ema Nico bo Hansi Flick amane ana
Hansi Flick ne Deku kasai
Hansi Flick so ko bo Deku amane
good ana mo convince me ye bibia eno na ma Felix Tenta ekohia Deku na ebeto abonten so mo ti hotel ho no yes our four cousins hotel ho no an centroni ba ko ana kunya asa picture no ana mu nyina ati ase ana Deku ko convince Barcelona mpanyimfo enti Barcelona de na onka asa okosan Nico Williams wo Nico Williams na to na aso pe Barcelona ena ma Nico Williams ebeye na adwen say ne salary na anka first one mo ka asa mo de man no 12 million euros a gross no obe maintain the same thing even pokra why you ready say obe reduce ne salary enti na Nico Williams de why you willing so obe join Barcelona ana Barcelona fo nyina ati ase mpanyimfo nyina ati ase say o de ebe work on that deal Bilbao fo mpanyimfo anti omo ho ase omo de pressure to webusuafo so onioma ekoso nyina onioma omo di watem Abrante friend say Iñaki Williams ni senior brother ono ankasa ehira ni junior brother Nico Williams say ope Barcelona ko emfa ho ne threats emfa ho ne ateti anom na busuafo fam no omo nyina aka say Barcelona opa join me even Iñaki Williams eka say ebani move from Spain say opetim kesi aba teams akesi e wo Spain no onko ba ko na ye Barcelona no enti ebusuafo no de na omode ye omo wo Bilbao ho nyina na omo mfa hu no me decide so me join Barcelona problem ni nyina na ye say at the time Bilbao for ne chance say omo ko La Liga mpanyimfo e me ye be discuss say de ne say omo person omo control Barcelona omo operations economic operations and the La Liga mpanyimfo be ka say adenti na who different club na be control another club economic operation no omo La Liga mpanyimfo mu nim de omo ya na Anama Javier Tabas Babontin say up to date Barcelona entimi register Nico Williams almost sign na enti problem ni yes Barcelona needs come dey to release close no omo says can by na dia can say ombetima register na because na was Barcelona omo financial fair play space na was omo release 23 million euros and say no metima really register Nico Williams so Felix Tenta after so call Bayern call Germany or Sabishia Barcelona for no ano bubu sa Deku say mu betima register makra na ano say ane ano say no kra dia Bilbao krom ho no omo ma akra na busuafo pressure enti se mo san akra na ma ntimi register na eyenim gwase kese enti yenko written document say anasa written guarantee say se mu kotua release clause na betimi assign no se amutima register na se ma ntimi register na ye betima terminate contract no
Eskanashi
so in community ni tie nyina na ye say omo operating guarantee enye bibia
e den about so ntimi anya because no omo ni side gidi ni so betimi ya
because Barca say oh ye financial reports say oh ye financial analysis baby Barca gina say ontimi guarantee we say obetima register because Barca for him pefe say e was so muko free 23 million euros so obetima ye sade na just so ma ton players and omo ton players enti Barca ntimi guarantee rating document obetima promise o verbally obetima use o ma no dia catch or say ye betimi a register by rating documents ni say acquire rating documents not specific date also be register when ntimi a register sa contract no e invalid obetima terminate na Barca si kokotua na hye so financially it make sense say Barca be rating guarantee
e den na hete Barca for no pa no
dia a hete o money say omo tu omo baby ana say chinchi na person oba ana o megya di omo ye nyina e di omo focus about so sa o se umbo biem mpokran ka bo mama ne enti Barcelona dia show money say on fa respect and from Barcelona ankalis obetimi afre Barcelona mpanyimfo say baby edru no mentimi an guarantee me say betima register enti we dey make renew my contract efe ba wan ka hwe Barcelona for beti an say be oba for announce someone for bu ama Barcelona bobuko
but they want to say report with free Barcelona but say even Lamine Yamal no nya we so tie news no so e be dey na Nico Lamine amane
minima de kuntia maybe say osuro so
because all pa no or the Lamine so ana Lamine man free ayo coach no ana coach no koye operations no de komo no pay for no enti e be dey na o free club no na say o decide say o ma no Lamine nya we
minima de kuntia ono nkwa nanim that's the reason why make us one respect am Barcelona for because me pese me ba baby me nyamba wane bebo enti ken me de Nico Williams or say o renew the contract no we renew to 2035 na the release clause en can 58 million euros say e 100 million euros plus 160 million euros and the release clause say team ya betima activity a 2026 me patroness here da be enye 2026 adentina be oba ofo no say wow person betima abeto no 2026 ya e chese na be oba ofo no mpokra na yiska kese na omope beton by no mo peska kese enti no mo de release clause e be active na 2026
into your Barca fan ha obetimi a call this boy as a betrayer
oh yeah we betray Barcelona for
a betray
yes
say o want me an guarantee me so obetimi register me ntimi betray no because to me yes ade na nka fa me
at the frontier we betray Barcelona na say those say Barca ntimi am man rating guarantee na a verbal guarantee but we betray Barcelona for in a sense say o ma Barca for jai di omo ye nyina to work on this guy Kimbusa won say the international Barcelona for try so betima ton Fermin Lopez ojo say Fermin Lopez or a small player Barca for do Fermin Lopez by na Barca for try so betima nya big sale because of Nico Williams enti say o say omba obi entimi mbo by bo o mama ne keke that's the reason I make her respect so me to me I was here respecting Nico Williams decision by in as much as here respecting the decision to me personally obi a wan adwenche one for respect and from Barcelona bobu Ken Liverpool for ayade amani age big and massive respect for Liverpool Football Club Liverpool for supporters ene mituche ebo mi nsem de ma Liverpool team onim say Jota oye the 9th highest paid player e wo Liverpool bobu ko ni Liverpool players omo ni nyina no o kan omo jiska kese a na Jota eto so 9th oje 140,000 pounds a week. So 140,000 no every year be any 7.28 million pounds. The contract ebewu June 30th, 2027. From ene enkosi sa time and the contract bewu no. Liverpool salary also mutu ama Jota nyina no 21.8 million pounds. Liverpool for say those are brand any hobby. But mu tue scan nyina no e de ama Jota ene na busuafo. Already, let's not forget, Liverpool for retiring the jersey number 20. And Kobe Krabeka say enough. But apart from the jersey number 20 now Liverpool for retiring, almost in the second or say Tia Eddie Ama Brand and say Jota and the Busuan for. massive respect for Liverpool team no. Abrante friend say Casado, okay, no him say Atletico Madrid for Abel Rim so mo pa Abrante no. Atletico Madrid for Abel Rim say Barcelona midfielder. Casado omo pe no. Nyame ya aduma me boboso me the latest no need details beba. Juventus any Bisuma enkomo ekoso. Madueke any Arsenal de no. Arsenal for official bid nkoi. Ba me hwehwe mu kire say Arsenal for person mo di 40 million pounds eko. Chelsea pay 50. Arsenal for person mo di 40 eko. Enzo Maresca coach Edema Chelsea. Can you him say or say wa follow Kudus from time I know why yes. Enzo Maresca or see we di Kudus echi time I know why yes ebesine. Kudus a top player or we have quality. Benam say Kudus enyo mu player and on timi nka asem bia mfa ne ho. Say Kudus ba Chelsea and I say on ba Chelsea. By Enzo Maresca say wa follow Kudus from my yes ebesine. Fali Ramadan super agent. AC Milan for akache Fali Ramadan say omu monitor Abrante friend say that willingness a situation no. Many uye no Manchester United pay 160 million pounds from these 5 players and be 5 players we Manchester so omu pay 160 million pounds. Garnacho 60 to 70 million pounds. Rashford 40 million pounds. Anthony 30 million pounds. Sancho 25 million pounds. Malacia 5 million pounds. And it's 5 players we know. Manchester for say omu pay 160 million pounds.
Well, Sawa Ubijna na others say bad and send about me just a simple question na on finance seminar. Odolson, Boko Bim. Manchester United for free a Marcus Rashford agent. Edia tuna name Sakrano on competing. Or mama holidays and vacation no extended one. Tia Manemba back to Carrington. Na mwetimi asia catch agent and say the number 10 years in the Mayday. Maji. As ya bonipa na modern man in the day. Say the mama chias kunya. But a fair, quite a more treaty boy in a fair. As because I cry one of my chitano. Intimate bebo at a time I'm more judges in the crown. So better catch agent and say, Ebian Jason number crown and then send your day. But almost some player needing chair and say, the Jason number near the mama chias kunya.
I respect so much catching and yes, over to social media. So I mean,
and yes, will be there.
Exactly.
And that's how 5 players that are coming to with him by no. Oma catch will be Oma extended Garnacho Mone Malacia. Oma extended Omunina Anthony. Also Oma extended Yamano. Sancho. Oma extended. We move our show. We use almost fe.
You see,
Mobia Emma Carrington. Competing.
You see, my only problem, they say, as far as these guys, they still remain Manchester United property. Now, when you banish them from training with the team, where devalue or modada?
The prices are quite unya.
Exactly, and that is why I think Manchester United munim send yes you ton deal. As somebody be I make clubs and Arsenal and Man U, they don't know how to sell. These are talented guys, but just that obuoha onye consistent. Obuoha adibu ntina oko. So it is not as if say bi obu nyina saw omunsansa, which you can negotiate and get money. No problem. If you don't want them, let them be part of the team. On say what big clubs normally done is say mama some show. Omo nyina call pre-season na omama camera guys need to picture together with the group. Na ababon thing to say there ye nyina na ye training. Omo wie ya after about 15-20 minutes na coach na separate to omo we training with those he needs. Inside and what banish you, but outside you are telling a story that they are still part of the team, they are important to the team, so that when you are selling, you sell them right. That is how you do it. What did I tell you? Say? Because it is very important that you paint the right picture to the seller, to the buyer. Say, Madiano, a somebody mommy, and a made tongue. Then you can negotiate well. Name so quiet this idea cramming pa. Why the Baba turn a one and I feel it is a decision that we are choosing Ruben Amorim over these boys. I don't have a problem if you're a coach.
Amorim no in our same form Simon. When you show so in our Simmons Anthony Rashford na Sancho.
Na Malacia
they saw your ball on your bimo.
And it's virtually all of these guys.
So now, Omanche Rashford jersey number na say we now should be lose some jersey numbers.
Possibly. She says so new player be a new player and request a number of any of them and they'll give it to them. Very unfortunate. You see, the last time United made another huge mistake, Omuchusu Ten Hag over Ronaldo. Later on, they regretted. It is good to support your coach, but coach is more I catch or say Omunyendrum Pempen so be meeting your picky and choose you. Sometimes coach no Nyendru's our level now. You help him anyway. Kireben. I will do no fin Maminchian yepa na Nico Williams conversation me person me fan from a different angle. Na Ken, first of all, first scenario, me be created 3 scenarios at the amount. Na the first context the woman say Javi Hernandez, Barcelona former coach. And that one team young league, last season, no. Real Madrid scored more goals than Barcelona. Madrid conceded less goals than Barcelona. I say goals in common area. Safi no. Barcelona says 79 goals. Real Madrid say 87. Safi no. Na Barcelona who have finya so fast. Inti we Lamine Yamal and body dia one of the young guys who was gaining grounds was Femi Lopez, if you do remember. Inti sa period, you know. Now Barcelona were in a desperate period. Listen to my conversation very well, because we need to add context to this conversation. Time Hansi Flick able taking over Barcelona, no. Now Barcelona were too desperate. Because na anymore no Lewandowski afe anymore, Lamine Yamal afe anymore, but na kabako Femi Lopez kakra hafinya no obobe system minutes na coach na yine film. It got to some point in time no mo bo Gavi on the left wing. Okaya. Eto de bia na Xavi Hernandez timi bo Pedri on the left wing. So they needed a natural left winger or your right or betin ya bobo no. It is a sad time na Barcelona no me too desperate or cast up Nico Williams. It makes a lot of sense. Me what I say. So the context around the first snap, the first decision said Nico so Mombasa no. Understandable because sad time no Barcelona were desperate. New coach Aba, let's help him build the team because that time na Hafinya obi anyone no won mujedi. It's the first snap no me. I don't blame Barcelona. Nyamiadum boy na ma Hafinya na obieni ni mujidie no. He's had one of the best performances the entire career to the extent that Edrum Pempen will be yes Rafinha for Ballon d'Or meboa. This is a season Barcelona usher more goals, usher 174 goals, unlike the previous season. So previous season, they were struggling for goals. The team needed a left winger. Now Rafinha comes on board under Hansi Flick. Team Nasha 174 goals. It makes a lot of sense. Bibi Akoye, Robert Lewandowski 42 goals. Rafinha 34 goals. It's the second scenario. They say Barcelona is desperate, unlike the first one. Maybe I told you in common. I mean, you wouldn't say. So Barcelona is desperate, dear. That's the team no already set up no hodada. And it's okay. We want to go to the different level. And I say a different level. So let's bring on board Nico. Near for Hafinya Mbeshe 10. Say Hafinya, Ebon the left wing one, and yes, a team not say yo. And the decision that okay, let's give it a try. Barcelona are not desperate. The team is already there. Sad time, you know, this is why I want to blame Barcelona kakra. Ken, say my own desperate there. And yes, all my club will be an answer agents be an answer player be better than sa. Say a first scenario, no, and Barcelona, you too desperate or chasing for Nico Williams. I clearly understand, but this year, I feel transfer window way there. In case I was saying Nico, mom they chasing Barcelona more. Barcelona fell for Nico Omu Bates, no. And I am here because the last time I see my back catch on say, me say Felix Tenta Kwakusha Deco. One agent depend who yen as a man make catch her. Me catch us say as me to trim so kakra. Because the meeting on Kosha Hotel only 1 century in the go. Hey, master, that's how much she sent a dummy. Till before the first meeting, na Felix Tenta boy any agents akusha buying winching twice. Came me boy. No we share buying winching twice. The only difference are not a womb wages. So sad time no, sad 2 meetings no. If Bayern Munich were willing to pay these guys wages, in what they say? Then you meet Barcelona and tell Barcelona say, boy, you're willing to play for Barcelona. Now Kumemu they say, oh, are you ready to play for Barcelona? And I'm catch you say, a lie or chantro. Because the Wakumem pass up so about the Barcelona. Then what was the meeting with Bayern Munich for? What did I tell you? Say, so Wakumemu season way, who person about the Barcelona, and you who shall Bayern Munich ye then. What's me go on? I mean, you didn't say because all this guy want to do is for him to play for Barcelona. Then no problem. Don't go and meet other clubs. Don't go and have another discussion with any other club. Go to Barcelona straight. But you have met Bayern Munich twice. And I'm saying, some I should try my so kakra. Now Barcelona nye careful kakra. And I remember son ye dey about to this level. Say, obebo. Okay, we share Barcelona twice. And now we are willing to play. I have told you, say, you see, Barcelona's problem with registration. Clear, it is not as if say Nico. I can't say obebo registration issue by me what. Even last year, we had this conversation. Say, Nico or Sainia, a better chance on my register. Me boy. Into the issue of registration, and a boy need to hono. Actually, imagine so kakra because before you met Barcelona, you already knew. Say, Barcelona play be obefabiano registration. A better star be kakra, especially say, waketio na wo jene wasra. Unlike Juan Garcia now on the obejiska fia. Into the issue about registration in an American one day. That's a chirma again so kakra because I did way back 2 years in OBA Danny Omo before he signed. He knew it, yet he signed. As I mean, Dekwama boy ne play no. Wama boy ne any nature. Very unfortunate. Say Barcelona big club like Barcelona and pen so Barcelona drew this season. I was saying a boy in push it especially when Barcelona say Barcelona train a pound one and sound so money cheap your big club. You ain't seen to show fire. Oh Jesus Christ!
Transfer
there is so who say yeah maybe Matthew Alemani. If I just go there for half in if Chelsea for him and no transfer said you play everyone want to be smart. Everyone want to be smart. Me feel say the best thing Barcelona needs to do. And they say next year I was say Barcelona tisik I can say for Lewandowski replacement too. And I am again also. And see the proper investment should be the future number 9 for Barcelona. Safi, someone person come for winger be ba at least just to deputize and no problem. You go in for a loan be play be no about be short term. Because the bigger investment should be why never replace Robert Lewandowski next season because Ferran Torres want to mean for an internal so because me say as some more it say Ferran Torres we are molding him as a number 9. He cannot do it. So say market him so open proper number 9 at par. You are looking at something around 90, 95, 100. Inti, I was said Barcelona Bob was because Julian Alvarez, Atletico Madrid for fan if Manchester City, who I think is a better player to replace Robert Lewandowski. No, almost 95 million euros. Who can add those things in Abuma and a local fan if Manchester City. So that should be Barcelona's priority right now, and not necessarily Nico. But I have my game power. Habasa. Chelsea game no a me wonema 4 me observe ya mpese me ni wodi hu nkomo kakra me wo line up no Chelsea line up no na me disappointed kakra because say Romeo Lavia nya fit Moises Caicedo ye onye available I was expecting Andrew Santos to play. Line up now by now James the nation move. As I say, and James pull up or warm up. Say yes, sir, and Andrew Santos no more money more boni. So James when pull up and I said now since now got Dario Sugu and Andrew Santos. King 2 years in year. And now Maka Santos are some sasa bono ni body bo ma Chelsea ma boy in go no kwa Chelsea benunu. Oh performance. Whoever watched the game, I am not saying say Enuntina he's there, but obi ohwe bo ni bibia obi ni wa ofe Moises Caicedo mfimfin ho. Because I kept on saying say why do you have a solid defensive midfielder? Wa ball Brazil Argentina Vasco ho. Wa by Europe. What do you call Strasbourg? She ball the French league. Now about Chelsea give him opportunity. Now it's a bench. Now Chelsea bought James right back as a defensive midfielder. I did not understand it. Now sometimes you take advantage of situations. And then I made the pass say James when pra and Kayehu Andrew Santos. And now the guy played very well. We did not miss Moises Caicedo. And now he was solid on the Enzo Fernandez partnership. Point number 2. Leandro Lapono. Ken. It is too early, but I think it's a baby okay kakono. Onwagasa invite pressure the man. Okay? Ada Chelsea food jab out Nicholas Jackson Bako. Unnecessary yellow cards. One of those things are Chelsea failed to tame Nicholas Jackson as a sebedroom pempensobia striker Eddie red cards mono. Sir, or starting unnecessary yellow cards. Leandro Lap onyam peke in form. Or by just one goal and another shot against Esperance. But say we did 2 yellow cards. Watch one goal pe. Bona how bono onyam. You see. I want to pardon him because says he said the young call baby no problem. But the unnecessary yellow card say Chelsea next game on Bono, he's been suspended. And now boy me who said Joao Pedro airborne. Ken Dila Poma Joao Pedro Jin number 9 no na so be because Pedro no otimi bo position biao. And now buy no as if he has been training with Chelsea for 1 month. He was okay. And Joao Pedro Nankasa born than an annual. Only born a bot chain, you would Leandila. And see, I said, he's gradually inviting pressure at the banners, which is unnecessary. Point number 3. Referee needed 4 minutes and a torso. Now 2-1. Okay. And now, many Jail.Chelsea, the last 4 minutes at your year. Yeah, game no. Not this hall about game in the movie. Na Nkuku Efrim, Joao Pedro Abeshimti, the front 4 for Chelsea, ebe game no. Disbury Hall, Kopama, Noni Madueke, and Joao Pedro. 2-1. Pressure. Palmeiras funded the pressure match Chelsea. Ideally, 1 year, we a team, game. You need to defend your goal. Chelsea decided to press them the last 4 minutes. I loved that. Back on 90+2. Nkofo feel say Chelsea be quite the pressure to Chelsea. So Chelsea front 4 no they were on they were pressing them and then this brawl far ball. Or Jibon one ball be Kopama to Joao Pedro to Noni Madueke and Noni Madueke boya whatever yes I save no. It is the same press within the last 4 minutes. And I'm Joao Pedro any chance or bonso so boya whatever save you. So the last 4 minutes, instead of Chelsea sitting deep and inviting pressure on themselves, Chelsea decided to press. I love that. A solid decision because Palmeiras did not expect it to so they were too confused. Last point in say.
Okay.
It is quite obvious to say role of Noni Madueke will keep on diminishing every single day. Because they say, and I'm going to say, Obo in Kunku ahead of Madueke. And now whoever saw Jail.Chelsea, no, I bet Chelsea, no, Chelsea would want to move on. Now, Cup.Estevao, but or probably Kudus, because now, and some coach in the camp for Kudus, I am a Maresca. I did not expect that statement from him, but for him to say, I know Mohamed Kudus for my ass. Master, nature said Chelsea were proper interest in the Mohamed Kudus. It looks like Noni Madueke, no, born like a Kakwane, he will probably leave. So, either Kudus, Ebebo, now still no way introduce to Cup.Estevao, but from yesterday's game, I don't see Madueke continuing. Ken, Thomas Partey asam na maminka ke craving Samson fanka when say.
Yeah, first you know first moment.
What we should start praying for, and they say, email na investigator na de tool no. Emma obafufuru bia entwere nko.
Okay.
Because Benjamin Mendy no started with Mamiensa. Mamiensa no na ye 4 count people. Thomas Partey I started with Mamiensa. The count in 5. But what I say?
Okay.
So initial report no. Thomas Partey dey no cry a dangerous change Benjamin Mendy there. Per the counts because Partey 5 counts plus 1 sexual assault. Benjamin Mendy there it was initial one no, it was just 3.
I said it count.
I said it be count.
Okay.
First of all, what we should pray for and say, am I now sorry me Samson to say before for sounds where unity.
But Met Police, I didn't know BM say or baby bra.
And then let me say,
I know police former tires.
Oh yeah, Benjamin Mendy, oh you know, BM.
BM say Obia Nipano.
Because I don't feel say Obi wo ha osuro.
Ntomra.
Now they are assuring you say they will protect your identity. Come. Because all the cases I have followed in Nina no. Ayana the man here dangerous and say asam no kransa na ye ba be kana. Na man for be braid the omo the asan so aba. Na kwa kopem say ebia ye be call first court na de. What we should start praying for is mo bia amfa na de for sanson ko.
A man baby having.
And it makes it very, very difficult to apprehend because in 10 years, as I said, there to be also we names for and yes, sir, Abrafo man kwan it is say normally when we have this kind of issue, the first thing is that footballers they should be very careful about Abrafo man bebre na you.
Yeah.
Samson bebre na so enye. Sana ya ye kromufu bebre na so enye. It is not a matter of race, a matter of character. Because I've seen white ladies omo boa ko bibini abefa na ebusuafo nyina kwa
ama ko bibini so amafia no
ama ko bibini amafia oba no ama utim se broni pa
agene krata ko
exactly bebre na oba be fa omo free akọ onya krata na no eja no. So there are good white ladies there. Very, very good. I don't want to say.
And yes, bia yenya na brofo de. Mo me fa mo ko.
Ghana for the pe issue be say be ani I know race abrofo de and oye bibini nti and aposi for the say Ronaldo onye bibini. And so he went through this process. There have been white guys who've gone through this. You know, attacking issues from the race pointer. We'll always get it wrong because the problem is the character. We are Bema. Bompire say, or Babia only be signing your be or your bapa. That is the most important thing. And ya koko and ya tuntum and ya fita. As a say, oh Bompire say, or Babia, sound in a chimpino, sound in a warrior. As a say, your bapa. As something in
Well, any of those Edian no Biggie, Bre, but you will say you know Koso Portugal, but you won't images be. Say no Hilabo match. You won't one image I can say when Ruben Neves Saba.
Wow, more courses here.
Or maybe do Portugal. Mamma sa picture image and I'm in videos on the beach. And Romususa. But so Omubo born and run a job. Na Omuin run and you ran and now much me about to Portugal, none of payday.
Wow.
Once Neves and they send a damn for pa.
And musu you. And cancel a crab or any still
None is soon eba. Me so show for me and say, Biggie. Me was say images in the bio. Once Liverpool for no players no. Once a finna a year pan ye be my movie also baby. And one a sorry for no. Into way a Liverpool Van Dijk and a lady Liverpool contingent no. Anopai once anopai there will be a shit suit to ball. And I saw black into team Liverpool. Darwin Nunes the first person who do around no was send the no into Liverpool for the year.
Sound no a Sanson to for no woman. Sanson ya ebe.
Santi ya ebe di. Biggie. Santi ya ebe ya for.
We Liverpool. Just penny for the players. And I could be more Darwin Nunes. And so
you know
Diogo Jota. Yes, now Omakwa. And so
among some boys saying.
And then just a little you
and that's Saturday. Santina ebe a Liverpool for and a bar Munia Bakope. Omono and let's say Sabi as some cases at home. Okay. Interesting. Ruben Neves, the Anana American. Mamu say Ruben Dias is Manchester City. Ono so the craft flower ono so international teammate. But my pictures no and I mean where am I no idea? Where Joe Felix in here? Some of me different picture I mean here. We do be a black. Not just something we on kwa. We jam my Chelsea ana. We Bruno Fernandes and Danilo ni. Yenya ba kwa Ruben Neves na jaw. Anya ayini.
Renato Viaga.
Viaga na wan na ekoi. Only Cancelo. Just say Cancelo ni Ruben Neves almost from America. Ababedu ayi na se no no bobo. Ewo ho. Enti die tie no no. Ti ya de na wi. Saboni we.
But my member Liverpool for Nabaso. Bruni or Kasabi or say a nation that doesn't honor its heroes isn't worth dying for.
Hey, are you so true? Nelson Samedo no. Hey Biggie. Samedo. Ina Samedo afana so na de pa o. The Krumpa.
Ti adie bia Liverpool bia no. Ye and omoye. But whatever you are doing now, or send the signal to the outside world. Any players are or more outsider potentially and not possibly. Almost bet me join Liverpool bobo no say odo home be Liverpool na nyame mfasa ma bibi toa enya dia Liverpool be ja wejeje mu nti na feel say Liverpool is doing everything humanly possible said e be ya mo be kro mu nua na chi na afeyin so obusua no so atimi aye stable because nemo omo ye dia ma family no I was so to the extent say captain Van Dijk so volunteer say obe make sure so be take care of the family going forward. It is something good. It's a step in the right direction. Yemo Liverpool for now, so they have done very, very well. Ken, Manchester United players now Manchester United person or tono. United is in a position now. Omuni option say omobeton players and sana there are other transfers. Manchester United bobo kone team ISR transfers no. But when you get to this stage, it depends on how I'll be selling players to the outside world. And at the kind of money I'll be attracted and so beba. Me jitum say players we Manchester United in here almost services. Not necessarily they are that bad. But in football even if a player is so bad or you're bad for whole club no any whole system. But there are other teams almost be ready to member players no opportunity no mababa be see a kind wom. Real Madrid in Como Bebre cost surrounding Rodrigo. I highly possible say Rodrigo betimi free Real Madrid. But if you look at the Rodrigo Real Madrid situation, kwamo faso any player na dealing no. Madrid the mabon say mekanche o say oton. O mekanche o say o transfer list player no. Enti se sia say o kosa o per Rodrigo a. Eboa Real Madrid de pe. E no obebo emfa wo say player na bia na o hia no. Enti obetimi akọ. Wo situation na the wadwene abusa akwada nya Real Madrid obefiri wonti ma menkọ na menkọ no na Madrid a price akwala no na wanya sika papa bi e dia free akwala ni deal mu Chelsea ni no ni Madueke it is clear say no ni Madueke offer ban ne na say offer ne very good Chelsea beto apprentice na manako but Chelsea in transfer list no Chelsea in country obi aso on peno ni Madueke e do person oton no man ko da bi It is a wokɔ Chelsea sɛ wokɔ akɔpɛ no ni Madueke enya buo bi a wo pɛ na wo bɛkɔ Chelsea boboko na so yɛ sɛ wokɔ akɔpɛ abrante friend sɛ no ni Madueke no. These are things Manchester United should learn. You time when Chelsea boboko ni here Romelu Lukaku. They found a way to sell the players said they be obenya sika and so the film. Manchester United a creative portfolio amobi. You see a friend chief negotiating officer, Matt Hargreaves. But minima dey be on negotiating Manchester United. And on to na Manchester United the top players can na a problem. The omo beto so aye di bu omo. Wo na wonni sika na be to player no. Won san so ntimi nton wo de kakra ni ye. But wo kon so na ye san so de abu. And this is Manchester United in common. At the end of signings, why they have to sell off players to make enough money to do recruitment. And also, what's a problem when you have a chief negotiating officer. See, this is the situation of Manchester United. Someone who can me first why now. Now say to us say yeah, the BIA can go and the break club no. Ken moving on. Kamaldeen Sulemana finally Walande Atlanta Bobo Konim. Kamaldeen qualities has never been in doubt. Obin to me convince me ameteha. Say Kamaldeen Sulemana a good player. He is a good player. A lot of qualities. Open football a typical winger. Ultimate money Kamaldeen fan film. The pace was a winger here. Our flank and that's what the Bayer Juma. Kamaldeen Sulemana will be. He's a very good dribbler. The problem is to do goal posting anymore. Come be fast the ball now to me to a problem. But there have been a lot of times I who players are. And yama how more career mo. But they force themselves to adjust to new situations and make sure say omo be polish omo no mabobo na nema asesa. Timu Kruya, there have been players from Akomo and nema asesa de ama omo. They be American mebo Ademola Lookman. He wasn't a bad player in England. But in England, numbers of them Atlanta say I don't think him be more. Okoye nema asesa. We've seen Atlanta Bobo Kona. A lot of the players from Atlanta says here. It was after they joined the club and we are saying Omonka, Omupejabe big players. Matteo Retegi is a typical example. Nobody knew him in the Italian Serie A. Don't know Bobby. But move it to Atlanta. Oma ye player and one Juma mine. Season year in Italy. On an top scorer. Italian Serie A animal. It's all such a team muna neman konkan from Mawa. We are rest assured say, never be betting me as based on the club you are joining. We are nuni free orma. There are certain players who form to me conform. But Oshia coach be not coaching and Didio anymore. Whenever the coach moves, of a player and the neck or the neck near Master Sunday Mamo. Carlo Ancelotti and the James Rodriguez situation sanity. No matter how much Rodriguez former with team or woman say Nyampoa, Carlo Ancelotti make him move no fragrant and say bra. Nebra be coming one. Play any movie call on pe. No transform play and mama near master based on the kind of trust I went with him. It's a Juma Kakrebina Ivan Jurek. And the Kamaldeen Sulemana. A year was Adamson Bobo Konimino. When who the kind of quality a player and he possess it. And now all quack of funding about Babecano. So I am hoping to send Yama betting me as a and Yama player friend say Kamaldeen Sulemana. Now I stay fit 100%. Injuries in Bebria memoir. I am sure they play and got it back to the best of form. But then again, Ivan Jurek as a coach. And so performance can be questionable. The last two Juma waye Roma and Koye. Oba Southampton the nenya kra. Southampton about 16 matches. 16 matches no boy. Olusi mako 13. Or we need 2 league bako, F Cup match bako, and or draw bako. It's the coach in the performance and enya di obenya jidie bebre wom. Players na mabo mudi wa Atlanta say you transform me omono e your coach efere say Gianpiero Gasperani na yes ejuma no he's left to AS Roma. So I am hoping say Ivan Jurek this time around and yema be konkai the man because yema konkai man na otena team ni mu cha ono na de Kamaldeen Sulemana bae and o man that opportunity one you fortunate na yema konkai no free ho na new coach ba na on style of player na fezo o say baba betiakem and so ho eti I am going to hope say coach na yema be say Sadia man this time around no one a good stay and so ho Ken on the Club World Cup and no Chelsea born am share you know I was looking at certain players. Cup.Estevao is a typical example of that players and I share. What ball Brazil? What Judin among for whom? Our Brazil. Club World Cup and Anka Sampono Bayano. Or performance has been good. There's that word attention on you. But such Chelsea supporters behel. Obi one any team match crampa on her. It's a lot of the Chelsea supporters, I am sure. So even though at the Club World Cup no mu hebino, e bi mpa no mu nya hu abrante no. And this unya akwanya. unya opportunity na wo ba be share Chelsea bo boku no a the assessor we say we bring you a game on board na niam be konkan enso we the amount and no that was exactly what the player did, especially go no topping it up with that kind of performance. And so he's a left-footed player. It's most of the time our person such a player what ball na angle na your tight no Levi Kowi who had a very good game yesterday. And no baby opi Abrante and kwakwa share no me sure say na Levi Kowi adwene ye ne say Abrante and he left-footed into angle na wa close in so much no there is no way so betimi abos ha ball no within the right foot and the aba goal post no. But Estevao is surprised you be with that close or tight angle. No sense within the weaker foot. A boss our ball in the share, you know. He has showed himself to the Chelsea supporters and then the world. So boy now our boy and I'm so much Chelsea kwa fan abana not just by fluke. But we'll prove it in that game in so and Branty and so a boy. Who you know to free one more. Kopama Ken after more than a month. Kopama Timinya go the match Chelsea Bobo. And it is something good for the player. They be a cast of football, no, the more you play better. And our confidence and so sober. To Kopama na ye huno no. Do a toda no bo. But the numbers in ma na more performance na BBO. Assist in the kakaba. But goals in na emma. And this year Ankasa Kopama goals akwa here some way. Because Ken, the last goal of Shadema Chelsea before no go no was on the 4th of May. And I branch any go the match Chelsea. Before that, not the last goal I was and sign a 4th May game, you know. I wish go for your Chelsea. It was in January. It's assistant in the third or maybe. But goals in Ankasa, Ababa be a problem kaka, and so the Ama branch, you know. It will a player now go in such a situation. Now if you book game now goes in a chance, yes, I am sure you are going to be happy. And every Chelsea supporter be and so be happy, and so the Ama player, no. I a friend said, I a co-palmer, and so I was very happy with the performance of Dynedy, especially all topping it up with a goal, and so the Ama Chelsea Bobo Kono. Real Madrid, ball a Borussia Dortmund then ne. Obe expected. So Obama a typical Real Madrid performance. At the start of the Club World Cup, na coach Xabi Alonso so performance akwa ye bibie wo hono no. Gradually, unsa ade na o che no hu coach ne nsa no e Real Madrid team ne so. Fortunately for him, okwa share team onimo very well. I am saying very well because he's been playing with Borussia Dortmund and so Bundesliga anymore. Onimo per year, setting up the team to be able to beat them and share that problem baby and some from Maomo. The 3 defensive men on the body of Real Madrid now was more cautious. There are players in the Borussia Dortmund team clearly almost said that kind of performance on my Dynedy in the just ended season, Champions League especially and by fluke. Player Mekan on Wasem has been saying Girassi. In this particular tournament, the player's performance hasn't been bad. Per attacker, when you a lot of attempts at goal, can a player friend say Girassi? 17 attempts at goal. It's in the clearly the air chain say he's one player who tries a lot when he gets to the goal line area. It's a Real Madrid defender. Such a player, you say you are doing it, and they were neat, and so the free. So Kylian Mbappe is fit now, but I don't expect a coach in the best at Kylian Mbappe. Ken Mbappe, me sure say with the matches remaining in the Club World Cup, Obebo we are seeing in our crampo and unquabit manage Ballon d'Or. The kind of rise that player friend is Gonzalo Garcia. Gonzalo Garcia, Enyano. Elisa Okate Sadiano. He's a young player. Obi one mentally or you're tough. Obencheno. Now the Kylian Mbappe boy. Anytime will be your opportunity to be and still obey me abo. But Obinsu are looking at the performance of what Dine did Real Madrid or Club World Cup nimno. Uko ko yini film na Kylian Mbappe ba. A bit me adenti akwadane spirit. And he hasn't been bad. And Kylian Mbappe we are talking about Ken. Ufri injury ba. Menya sure say why 100% fit. Maybe a few minutes to be me about what changing. It's the identity now man started from the bench rather. That's a few minutes to be here on fan because you're in place of him, and so prove it. And I believe that Real Madrid, no matter how difficult it is going to be, I feel they have to get this particular win at the expense of Borussia Dortmund with no disrespect. Madrid performance, our Club World Cup keeps rising. Clearly, we are the coach in the players and APK, and may sure say win no. Ever call the Real Madrid, possibly a 3-1 win for the Real Madrid club. Ken.
The final na be ho na. Say Chelsea dey so mo ko final.
Oh, young boy.
Ebi mo so mo share Club World Cup na Chelsea. Omo matches ni matches be. So for mo bo one.
Chelsea.
Benfica.
Yes. Omo
Esperance.
Benfica, Esperance, Flamengo,
yeah.
Palmares, and I for.
And
LAFC. LAFC, yes.
LAFC.
Los Angeles FC.
I don't know how much share this.
On a group stages ni obo Esperance, obo LAFC. Na obo
Botafogo.
Flamengo.
Flamingo.
And we no Bobo Benfica.
No, Palmeiras.
And now Cobo Fluminense.
LAFC, Esperance, Botafogo.
Clubs and clubs and
Just only your son and Abebo. Fluminense.
Fluminense. It's a Brazil for
When is a Bayern American PAG Bonne?
Yeah.
When him, sir?
Yeah.
When is ever boss match?
Sure.
Kempacho Hilal for no. We city for free.
Oh, men
And a Fluminense so in any day. And no qualify. Omunina ya de. What you say? It be so ya de change. But those clubs now, you ever see a Brazil? I mean, come on, Ken. Benfica for me is small clubs.
Benfica. That's a Benfica. They say Newcastle and Nottingham Forest. Difference, Beno.
And they say take over Chelsea yet.
Minka. Me patch say, Oko tournament to be a good draw.
And you mum
what you say? Because Obo LAFC, Obo Esperance, Obo Botafogo. Now wabo
Flamingo.
Oh, that be Obo Flamingo. And I was here about your fantasy. No about Benfica. And I wabo Palmeiras. And also about Fluminense. No, I can find.
It's a Fluminense. Why Hilal for the free? I didn't know find Hilal for 68 million show.
Where they be a United come back home.
Oh, can me write to Chelsea off.
Obianca's all right to Chelsea. Yeah, about a draw, lack of draw.
Can Chelsea and Yalak, but they have put in the work.
Yeah,
because these clubs we are talking about, and Anakwa Kukano, Fluminense, you Hilal Efrim. Does that make them a bad team? Because we are Hilal performance. Our Club World Cup anymore. They've given an European standard performance. Our Club World Cup anymore.
Maybe so say. So we tournament. Now we a big club like Chelsea. Now baby, I won't no any. Automatically we go final. This will be an upset to be the better. ABC. Enti and America clubs no. Even I was semi-final across saying Fluminense. And I make catch us say and Bayern Munich ni PAG yede. Ebo. PAG ni Bayern Munich do be sure you could be an Real Madrid be yede. Ebo. If it me share man possible. Let me do what you say.
Yeah.
And no some na me and no some na me can mention.
Omo ya de and no ma buy munch ndi second.
Okay.
What I say. And buy now also
Benfica crowd won against Bayern Munich.
Because omo ya de a.
Tamana ba qualify we no.
What's that? What's that?
Chelsea intimate Dodgia forever. If Chelsea, sorry to say, if Chelsea is that bad, at least encore final there. You be who Chelsea because Madrid lane no. There are some big teams back could play more finals. It is a Chelsea team could do finals now on Dodger forever.
Okay. Chelsea a real conference league already a Club World Cup with you. Unim say Tamayam in a nam haya na kwa. And can go for back say Omashama Messi. Can you sound go for back? And I'm making can you sound go for back?
Can go for back there.
Say FIFA society.
Eddie Messi.
Young festival na yen nkumo. And when we say blues on be trouble me kakra but I didn't much imagine. E muda hopa, muda ho. Okay. And so the final images say the enya abana bi Jago Jota and omodena mum no ekono. And one no say the asi ana asi and one no. Okay. Jago Jota Kasketchen na ekono.
Be say they are na haju. Be say they are. Haju.
Yem fancy o Asante Kotoko House of Folk. Yaba ne yaba beti yem komo. Eno eye je no. Amufa atena se. Kotoko House. What it 5543? What it is answer me be? Only na nkruma and a 3 4 5. Big munya careful. $70.
And has so shall be.
Has a social budget
$dollars.
dollars.
No go move to graduate for somebody.
House coaching and the papa.
And home.
Hey. And unimomo so.
Oh yeah.
Mama pa.
Bany players for you. New players we.
Ora for assembly.
Roberto no.
For assembly.
Hey, did you know
again.
that local national team on it.
I don't know.
And former assistant national team proper.
Yes.
Blasters will call so Akoya Juma.
And watch there, sir, Okoye assistant result.
Oh, that be said you coach power. And they said you be coach.
And Okoye head coach for local blasters.
Oh, and you send your mistakes be by. And Yenchman Queen.
Kusuadia Juma Bruni
Kusuadia or Denmark, Juma Bruni Chroma. Time crowd or league me no Chroma and Granon said Uncle Suadia and Cosu say, this idiot. On the and the level on it, was a Nagro Hansi Flick and Modia Arabia. Our Africa. You didn't come.
You didn't come off. Nah, the Tiano.
Go for your master show more. Or more appointment.